Happy Sunday, everyone. How are you? Hopefully things are going well. And this is the last day of the month, if you can believe that. Can you believe that? Actually, it's not the last day of the month. I lied. Close enough, right? So coming to the end of the month, one of the things that we do is we look towards what's next. If you've been following me over the last few weeks, we've been talking about making a move toward your biggest goals and what does that look like. And we had talked about literally M.O.V.E. And the first week was all about mindset, right? The first step in making a move toward progress, toward our biggest goal, is mindset. Make up your mind. You know, I like to say Henry Ford's quote, I believe, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So which one is actually going to benefit you and help you make progress towards your goal? Mindset. And there's a lot that you have to do to protect your mindset. But really, your progress, your success begins and ends with, how much you make up your mind. Then the next thing that we talked about is options. What are your options? All of us have essentially the same options when it comes to our goals. We can wallow, boo-hoo, I don't have this, I don't have that. We can whine, or we can make up our mind and make the decision to win, to go for it, to do what we need to do in order to figure out or find out those next steps. And today we're on that third part, V of our M-O-V-E, move. And what I want to do is, because this is the last Sunday of the month and we're looking forward to a new month, I thought we would just wrap it up tonight rather than take it another week. Aside from the fact that you guys are pretty smart and you're ready. You don't need me to drip this out in 4 weeks time when we're talking about making a move toward your goal. You want to do it now, right? So let's finish this up, and then I'm going to give you this week's focus tip of what you can do as you look ahead to your next 30 days. So let's wrap up this move toward your goal. So mindset, options, value. What's the benefit of moving toward this goal for making progress? You could even say this V is what's valid. What's valid right now? What's the priority? What are not only value as in what are the benefits, but our last step, options. What are your options? Are you valuing those options? Are you valuing the opportunities that you have? We live in a day and age where there's so much information and technology and information. So we're not lacking information, or at least access to information, that's for sure, right? So value. Find the value of and the benefit for you and moving toward that goal. And how is this valuable to your family, your clients, your those that you serve or work with or volunteer, right? So value. And then finally, be expectant. Expect for your hard work to pay off. expect that it's going to be hard work. Expect that it's going to be worth it. You know, another E would be expand. Get out of your comfort zone. We all know this. You know, getting out of our comfort zone is where the progress is going to happen, where change happens, where transformation comes from. But we're afraid. We can't be afraid. Expect for it to go well. Expect for that hard work to pay off. Okay, so that wraps up our focus tip that we've been kind of dripping over the last few weeks in how to move toward and make progress toward your goal. And that's mindset, know your options, value those options and those opportunities, and be expectant for it to go well, right? So now I want to talk to you about, since this is the end of the month, the next 30 days. One of the things that I do really every day, and you know, I tell you about my planner, and one of the sections in it is a brain dump section, and this is kind of like your parking lot, your maybe things that you need to go back to, and things that you just need to remember but not right now, right? A brain dump. There's other ways to use a brain dump to your advantage. And you might be thinking, like, what the heck are you talking about? You should begin every 30 days with a good brain dump. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean, like a good brain dump? Why? Why would I? How is that beneficial? Well, one of the ways that a brain dump helps is that we all know that the number one rule in planning is write it down, right? We all know that. So why is it such a big deal to write things down, to write down our goals? Well, a few reasons of why that would be beneficial would be it improves your recall. Do you ever write down like a grocery store list, or, you know, go into the hardware store, or any kind of a list, you know, for items that you need to buy when you're going to the store? And what happens? By the time you get to the store, you don't really have to look at that list because you have that recall. You actually remember what it looked like when you wrote it down. So writing things down, especially when we're planning and our goals, it helps give us that recall. Another reason why writing things down when it comes to planning our goal is seeing it actually improves your chance of actually achieving it. Literally, by like 42%. People who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve their goals. And you think, well, 42%, that's less than 50%. Yeah, but it's 42% more than no one achieving their goals, right? I don't know about you, but I'd rather be in that percentage. Anything to give a leg up and be more likely to achieve my goals, right? The other thing why it's important to write things down and get it out of your head, especially when it comes to your goal. Your brain protects what's familiar. Think about that for a second. For a lot of us, it's so hard to get ourselves unstuck. You know, we keep repeating the same patterns. We keep, you know, falling back into the same bad habits. We procrastinate. We, you know, all of these things, right? We keep going back. Why? because we're familiar with it. It's our comfort zone. And that's why we say change happens, transformation happens outside of the comfort zone, right? So when we write down our goals, it improves our recall. We remember it. When we write down our goals, we're more likely to achieve it. When we write down our goals, our brain becomes familiar with it and begins to protect it. Okay? So those are reasons to write down your goals. But let's talk about the actual brain dump. What are the benefits of, just every 30 days, just dumping out all of the things that you're hanging on to in your brain? Well, physical lists are a lot easier to manage than mental lists. The more you put up in here to try and remember, the harder it gets because there's so much. But physical lists gets it out of your head and it frees up space for useful things, creativity, right? It takes away the feelings of overwhelm. I don't know about you, but your brain starts thinking of all the things that you have to do. When you're hanging on to that to-do list inside your brain, you start to overwhelm yourself. But when you have a list to look at, it's easier to manage, right? Plus, there's something about checking it off your list, right? So here are some steps that you can begin your 30-day brain dump, okay? Step 1, grab a blank piece of paper. I know, that's hard, right? And listen, a lot of you are listening and you're thinking, okay, give me the steps. As with anything, those who don't take step 1, you're not going to take step 2, step 3, step 4, whatever. Take the first step, and then the next step gets easier. We have this thing where we plan in perfection, and we end up getting analysis paralysis because we want it to go a certain way instead of just taking one step at a time. You know what? Let me just do the first step, then the next, then the next. Focus, right? Okay, so 30-day brain dump. Step 1, grab a blank piece of paper. Step 2, create space for what I like to call your 4 F's. And I teach a lot about this. I talk a lot about this, but the basic Post-it note version of your 4 F's are family and friends, finances, faith, and fuel. And what that is family and friends represents your relationships. Finances, what prevents you or propels you to your future. Faith, what you believe. You act what you believe. So make sure that it's solid. And finally, fuel. This has more to do with just health and wellness. This is about things that ignite you, things that light you up. So those 4 areas. So on your piece of paper, you could even draw a box with 4 squares in it. Family and friends, finances, faith, fuel. Step 3, look at the next 4 weeks, 30 days, and brain dump all that's happening in each one of those categories. Just whatever comes to mind in each of those areas. It doesn't have to even be, a coherent sentence or a plan or any, just dump it. Just dump it out in each of those areas. Okay? Step 4, decide the top 3 that you will prioritize your focus for the next 30 days. Ideally, I like to say 1 or 2. If you've never done this before, I like to say 1. Okay. What would happen if you put some intentional focus in what you just prioritized for the next 30 days? Now, in my courses and working with clients, we dig in much deeper, but this is just a weekly focus tip, okay? So if you want to go deeper, let me know. I have ways and avenues for you to do that. But this week, really, I would encourage you to do it, tonight, as you're looking at not only the week ahead, but you have the opportunity of the next 30 days. There are, a lot of us have kids going back to school. Things are really going to get hairy, right? We have to learn and find ways for us individually. I give tips and tools and teach methods and things, but the only thing that is going to work is what you use and apply, right? And I tell my clients all the time, all the information and things that I give, tweak it. It's not necessarily, gospel. You have to do it this way. This is the only way that works. This is what I have found over the years has worked for me, as well as those that I've shared it with. But by all means, make it your own, tweak it how you have to. So, quick recap: brain dump. Look at your next 30 days. Grab a sheet of paper, make, 4 boxes of what I like to call them the 4 frustrating F's, because if any one or all of these are off in our lives, it frustrates us. So it would benefit us to prioritize our focus on each one of these areas, not at the same time. But imagine if you took each one of those 4 areas and worked on them each quarter. By the end of the year, you'd have quite a handle on those 4 frustrating F's: the family and friends, relationships, finances, faith, what you believe to be true or not be true, but you stand by it. Are you solid? And fuel, what fuels you? Not only health and wellness, but also what ignites you, what you're passionate about. Literally, what fuels you? Those 4 areas. So I challenge you, brain dump whatever comes to mind in those areas and really give some serious thought on what you could do to improve in the next 30 days. Maybe you do one little tweak in each area. Maybe you decide, you know what, the other 3 are a mess anyway, but I'm going all in on this one. Or mix it up. Again, I'm here to help. I would love to help you out in that end if you need to, but that's this week's tip. I will be back on Wednesday to check in on you to see how you're doing. You can go over to deanafarrell.com. There's actually a free workbook that you can download, because one of the things I like to debunk is about time management. Time management is not what is hindering your progress towards your biggest goal. It's lack of prioritized focus. And that workbook will walk you through the first 3 steps to get you started. So tomorrow I'm going to change things up a little bit for the weekly giveaway. Last week, the weekly giveaway, I thought I was making it really simple and not asking too much. I said, like the post and post a comment. And I think one person liked my repost. But tomorrow's giveaway will be a little bit different. It's actually, well, tune in tomorrow to find out what that is. And I'll be back on Wednesday to check with you on the progress that you're making for this week's weekly focus, which is brain dump. Do that brain dump. I'm telling you, it's going to make a difference. Get it out of your head and look at it on paper. And you'll be surprised at the problem solving that you'll actually be able to come up with when you see it on paper. All right, guys, have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you back on Wednesday.